Hello, and welcome to the Hive Mind podcast, where the collective wisdom of the travel industry helps you match travelers with the right destinations and the right hotels. I'm your host, Whitney Schindler, founder and CEO of The Hive, a platform designed to give travel advisors organized, actionable insights they can put to work right away. Each week, I sit down for focused, real world conversations with travel advisors, hoteliers, and supplier partners who know these places inside and out. We break down how each hotel is best suited to a specific client profile, take quick deep dives into destinations, and share pro tips to help you make the most of the Hive. And here's the best part: you don't need to take notes while you listen. Go about your day, tune in, and know that every insight from these conversations is already captured and organized inside the Hive. So it's there when you actually need it. And if you aren't on the Hive yet, you can get resources from this and other episodes when you join our newsletter at thehive.travel/podcast. Today, we have a new episode of The Essentials, a deep dive all about helping you not just understand a destination, but feel it, the energy, the vibe, and the nuance that make it unique. Trusted destination partners share key details that matter most and help paint an overall picture that will inspire you as you present the destination to clients. When you bring a destination to life with confidence and clarity, you build trust, you spark excitement, and you make it that much easier for your clients to say yes. Joining us today to talk about New Delhi and Khajuraho in India is Vivian Peres, Director of Ventours, a DMC based in India. Let's dive in. Vivian, hello. Welcome to the podcast. It's so wonderful to have you on.
Thanks, Whitney, for having me. I'm grateful to you because I understand your podcast is becoming very popular, in the travel world. So I was quite excited to jump on your platform. You know,
Well, I really
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
your willingness to jump right in. For anyone who's listening, I always let the guest on the podcast decide which city or region that we're going to discuss. And oftentimes, they choose a city or a region that they know from childhood, like maybe it's where their family is from. Sometimes they choose the city or the region that they currently live in, so they know it very intimately. And when I asked Vivian what city or region he wanted to focus on today, he said Delhi and Khajuraho, which are two very different places that are not next to each other. But I got very excited immediately because A, that was not what I was expecting. I was honestly expecting Jaipur, Mumbai, something a little bit more mainstream. And it's so random that I've been to Khajuraho. And it was one of my favorite places while I was visiting India. So my first question for you, Vivian, is what is it about Delhi and Khajuraho that when I asked, what do you want to, which region or city do you want to discuss today, that came back super quick. Tell me why it's special to you.
So Delhi is, I moved to Delhi in 1983. I've been in the travel business since for almost 43 years now. I did a master's in economics in Mumbai, and I was always keen to get into the hospitality business. And I applied to the Oberoi School of Management. That's what it was called in 1983. And at that interview, Mr. Oberoi, Mr. PRS Oberoi, who passed away 2 years ago, asked me if I was interested to join their travel business. And I had honestly no clue in 1983 that people travel to countries where and my first response to him was that I don't want to write tickets. So he said, no, there's another concept of travel, and where people visit your country, you plan their logistics, you design their trip, and you handhold them from start to finish. So for me, Delhi, in a sense, may built my career, took me to where I am today. Apart from, of course, being the capital of India, and in my opinion, apart from Chandigarh, perhaps one of the best designed cities in India.
Okay. And why Khajuraho?
So
Is this
Khajuraho again,
I'm curious to know from you, is this an area that travel advisors and travelers are requesting? Is it becoming more well known, or is it a place that you would like more people to visit?
I first went to Khajuraho in 1985. I mean, after I got into the travel business, it was a one-street town in 1985. I was there 2 days ago. It still remains a one-street town.
Yes,
Maybe the
last time I was
population
there, it
has
was a one street town.
yeah. So maybe the population has gone up from 2,000 to 10,000. But what interests me here was that here was something which was discovered literally about 800 years after the wonderful or famed Khajuraho temples were built. These temples were built, the famous Chandela temples, they were built between the ninth and the 10th century. The world had forgotten that they existed until a British officer called Colonel Burt discovered them in 1839. It was all covered with forests. And once it was discovered, of course, people kind of, the first thing was to clear out the forest, which of course the British kind of did. And the Indian government, of course, the critical part in this is the Indian government built an airport in 1978. That's how
Hmm.
people like us were able to visit in as early as 1985. And it has a wonderful combination. Other than the famed temples there, you also have the wonderful Panna National Park. And
Mm.
that park, of course, unfortunately, for a few years had poachers who took over that park, and that park went into oblivion. And then, of course, the government of India, and I'm sure, worked very closely with the various forest authorities, and they transported tigers from various other parks into the Panna National Park. And today, the Panna National Park has 85 tigers. The sighting
Really?
of tigers is almost 99%. So I love this combination now of the wonderful temples out there, the Panna National Park, and of course the new Oberoi Rajgarh Palace, which has opened just 4 months ago. The combo to me is almost, is very contagious in that sense that this one little town now can attract people who are with a wonderful combination of these temples. There is a small town kind of feel called Khajuraho, and there are the Panna National Park, and of course the Oberoi Rajgarh Palace, which is actually a destination by itself, spread over 76 acres. The I mean it borders the park. To me, it's become from a one night stay now to a 3 night stay. So
At
there's a
least,
sudden change
yes.
in kind, at least now. I mean, if you want to make full use of your stay in Khajuraho, away from the hustle and bustle of India, where small town kind of a concept, and you have a wonderful hotel, and of course and of course the national park.
As your business picks up, the overwhelm sets in. You're juggling client calls, proposals, and bookings, and there never seems to be enough time. That's where the Hive comes in. It turns scattered notes and endless research into an organized expertise vault of hotel details, destination insights, and advisor experiences. That means you save hours, move faster, and streamline your workflow, so you can focus on the parts of your business that actually drive growth. Want to see how it works? Head to thehive.travel.
Okay, so I am opening up a map just so that we can visualize a little bit. One second. Just so we can visualize a little bit of, where exactly we are in India.
It's in central
Here we
India.
go. Yeah. Okay, so I've got the map here on the Oberoi, and it's just about 25 minutes from Khajuraho. Then we have Agra here and Delhi up here. So I guess before we dive into the fun details about Khajuraho and all that it has to offer in this area, how are you generally outlining, like, how are you working this into an itinerary? Do you have people doing Delhi and then Agra and then adding on Khajuraho and circling back around to Jaipur? Or is it a Khajuraho Jaipur decision that people have to make? How do you find the logistics work best for a first time visit to
I
India?
would again I would, recommend starting off in New Delhi, and
Hmm.
of course, it's either 2 or 3 nights. It's your gateway
Hmm.
city. You then fly
Hmm.
to Varanasi, which is again a 1 to 2
Yes.
night stay. It's still the magnet for for all those who want to see and look at the crowds, whether they're coming for faith or just coming to see what what happens in Khajuraho. And Khajuraho Varanasi is seeing is believing, and
Okay. Yeah.
whether it's the cremation spot, whether it's the
Hmm.
evening rituals which happen, and of course where people take a dip in the Ganges in the morning, and of course you have
Hmm.
Saranath also there. So Varanasi can be a 1 or 2 night stop. Then you fly into
Okay.
Khajuraho now, which was a 1 night stop, has now become 2 to 3 night stop.
So
So you
these
can
are all
vary.
connecting by
What?
flights. Sorry to cut you off.
These
These
are
are all
connecting by
connecting by
flights, but
flights.
also between Varanasi and Kajor. The ideal thing is to fly, but you also have the new Vande Bharat, which is the Salute to India trains, which operate between Varanasi and Khajuraho, and also
Okay.
between Khajuraho and Agra.
Okay.
So
Okay.
between Varanasi and Khajuraho, it's a 5 hour train ride, and between
Hmm.
Khajuraho and Agra, it's a 6 hour train ride. So the
Okay.
transportation is great because there is no
Hmm.
flight between Khajuraho and Agra yet.
Okay. Okay. I see how the logistics are coming together. Okay. And then if you go Delhi, fly to Varanasi, fly or train to Khajuraho, you can train to Agra, and then do you drive to Jaipur
That's right.
from Agra? Okay. Okay. To kind of
That's right.
complete the
So
circuit.
correct, and then from Jaipur you go to Jodhpur. You know the
Yes.
other very attractive destination which we have already had.
Yes.
Uh, uh,
Yes.
that's Jodhpur, Udaipur. You can then go into Mumbai, enjoy the buzz of Mumbai, and fly out of Mumbai. So that becomes a gateway city. But you could also
Yeah.
look at it the other way. If you have wildlife and safari enthusiasts with me, they could fly from Delhi, which is the gateway city, to Khajuraho. You get the
Hmm.
Panna National Park now. There is the Oberoi there. A 4 hour drive from there brings you to Bandhavgarh, which is the new Oberoi, the Vindhya Vilas, which is now out there. So you get Bandhavgarh. From Bandhavgarh, another 3 hour drive brings you to the Kana National Park, which is again great for for tiger sighting. Again, another three
So,
to 4 hour drive brings you to the Pench National Park, also in the central state of Madhya Pradesh. I'm giving you for those who are wildlife enthusiasts and safaris.
yeah.
So this routing
Yeah.
then brings you to a town called Nagpur, where you can actually end up by going to the Tadoba National Park, which is an 1.5 hour drive from Nagpur. And then from Nagpur, you fly to Mumbai and leave out of Mumbai. For this, I'm talking is for safari enthusiasts.
Yeah. So, let's bring it back to Khajuraho because I'm gonna tell my first question for you is when is the best season to be in Khajuraho specifically to see tigers? Because when I was in India, I tried real hard to see tigers and did not see a single tiger. So I think it was a combination of being in the wrong park, being with the wrong guides, and being there in the wrong season. This was before I was a travel advisor. I did everything wrong. So when I come back to India, I will call you and I will do everything correctly. But from the standpoint, you first mentioned that Khajuraho used to be a 1 night stay, and now it's a 3 or 4 night stay, thanks to a beautiful hotel that is an experience in and of itself. And this is amazing. Khajuraho, the temples are some of my favorite temples in all of India. I loved them because they're just so interesting and so unique. And then you have the tigers. So if we want to optimize this experience in Khajuraho, is there a particular time of year that is best to be there, or are there times of the year that we should avoid?
So all the parks in the central state of Madhya Pradesh, where Khajuraho is located, Whitney, they are closed from July 1st to September 30th because of the monsoon
Okay.
months. So
Okay.
so the parks open again on October 1st. I mean, so does the Ranthambore Park in Jaipur. So it has to be any time after the 1st of
Okay.
October. But I wouldn't recommend anyone to go soon after the monsoon because the foliage is still thick. I mean the roads are kind of damaged because of water and flooding. So I would
Hmm.
recommend for people for tourists or safari enthusiasts to look at it any time from the third week of October. A couple of things
Okay.
will happen now. The temperature kind of begins to drop, so your safaris in the morning and evening are a lot more pleasant. The predators and others who have been out under the thick foliage begin to now come into the open. Because otherwise, because of rain and flooding and things like that, they get marooned here, there, and everywhere. So you need 3 to 4 weeks after the park opens for you to begin to enjoy these
Mhm.
parks. The weather again is very, very friendly. So I would recommend anyone from the third week of October onwards up to May. In fact, now, because the tiger population surely in Panna near Khajuraho has gone up from near zero or almost zero to now 80 or 82. I was told the last census. So
Wow,
so that's a huge number. So the odds of
huge.
seeing now are about 95%. So
Vivian,
so
I'm
I've
on
been
my
to
way. I'm going to the airport. I want
so
to see the
so so I'm
tigers.
saying. And I'm saying at pretty close quarters. I mean, day before we saw a tiger. I mean, a young adult male, on a kill. I mean, for as close as it gets. I mean,
Yes.
and not only does he get one deer, he gets two, all with one. It's amazing how he
Yeah.
ambushed them.
Yeah.
And then we
Amazing.
get to see it
Wow.
like a 15-20 minute, I mean, for about almost 45 minutes. And the distance between us and the tiger with the kill was about 20 feet, 25 feet.
Wow.
So
Incredible.
it was
Um,
explosive. It was just outstanding, if I have to use that terminology.
I really appreciate this kind of insight that you can have this experience near Khajuraho because to your point earlier of kind of sharing the wildlife itinerary, all the different places that you can travel following like a wildlife route, that's perfect for an enthusiast. But if someone just says, I would love to see tigers, but I don't want, 10 or 12 days of wildlife, you can really combine it with Khajuraho. And it sounds like the perfect opportunity.
Yes, so that's why we spoke about arriving in Delhi, doing Varanasi, where you get the religious and spiritual kind of part of India. You come down to Khajuraho, you enjoy the park, I mean the wonderful temples which we spoke about earlier. Of course, the Panna National Park. Then you come to the one and only the world's most highly photographed monument called the Taj Mahal. You're there for 2 nights. There are wonderful properties there. Of course, the Oberoi Amar Vilas remains my favorite. And from there on, you can move into Rajasthan. Again, there is the Aman Bagh, which is a rural kind of setting in terms of location. So you spend 2 nights there. It's just a 3 hour drive from Agra. And from Aman, I mean, there's the wonderful Aman Bagh Hotel there. And from Aman Bagh, you could drive up to Jaipur. Or if you're not staying in Aman Bagh, and if you've already done a tiger safari experience in Khajuraho, you could also stay at the Six Senses Barwada, which is about 45 minutes drive from Ranthambore, and then come
Mhm.
to Jaipur. Make your way then to Jodhpur, Udaipur, again depending on the time which one has, and make your way to Mumbai. If I was to add 2 more days to that trip, I would surely go to Aurangabad to see the wondrous Ellora and Ajanta caves, which
Uh,
to me is a great finale for anyone coming to India for the first time.
yeah. Let's bring it back to Khajuraho to make sure that we haven't forgotten anything. We have the incredible temples, which kind of ticks our history and culture box. We have the wildlife. Are there any other experiences, whether it's kind of soft adventure, hiking, biking? Are there any local artisans in the area or workshops that this may not be available in Khajuraho? But is there anything other than the temples and the wildlife that we should talk about before moving back to Delhi?
Yeah, so Khajuraho, as you know, is a one street town. They have not too much to offer in that. There are, of course, some artisans, who work on local craft that is mainly connected with some stonework, because of the temples. So they've taken a cue out of that. But from a shopping perspective or that experience, no. But yes, cycling, yes. I mean something like cycling, say even from say the Oberoi Khajuraho, say into town, and going to the temples. And of course, I think a visitor must see the Sound at Lumiere show, which happens every evening there. The English show is at 7:30. It lasts for about an hour. But to me, it's a great introduction to Khajuraho, the history of Khajuraho, and the history of the temples, and the show is of great quality. So I think people know. I think if it's possible, I think they shouldn't. They should include a Sonet Lumiere show in Khajuraho. To me, it's a must.
And this show is taking place in the area of the temples, or it's a separate location?
That's right. That's right. In the
Cool.
area of the temples, so the light effects on the temples is pretty
Mm,
stunning.
that's amazing.
So I mean,
This
and the location is wonderful.
Amazing. I love those types of experiences. It either wasn't available while I was there or I just missed it. So either way, I think I need to go back to Khajuraho. Okay, so I
You
want to
must.
shift us back to, I will. I want to shift us back to New Delhi because you're right, it is the gateway city and you really can't avoid it, but I don't think we want to. Can you give me an overview a little bit of how much time travelers typically stay in New Delhi versus how much time you wish they would stay? Like if they had a little bit more time, they might be able to do some less common or more interesting experiences.
So when we have most of our clients, especially say from the US who come in, their time frame for a trip for India without sans international travel is about 12 to 15 days. I
Hmm.
personally would love to push for Delhi, as a gateway city for at least 3 night stay. The reason also being two things. I mean, one is of course it helps you get over jet lag. These two
Hmm.
days is kind of too rushed in my opinion. And Delhi again, has, I mean, of course, you can't visit them all, but it actually has 1,200 historical monuments of significance. What we are really seeing is the historical, the more prominent ones, which is the Qutub Minar, the Humayun's tomb. You go into Old Delhi, and of course now many of them are asked to of course go to the Akshardham temple, which is also a popular spot, and now of course the Lotus Temple. And some who have who are followers of Mahatma Gandhi would always like to go to the spot where he was assassinated and where he spent his last days in, and there are the museums. So what do you do to a traveler if he has just 2 days? Because you're cutting out, so much of what I think Delhi has to offer. Then the other, this is Old Delhi. I mean, it's complete contrast. It's a day and night difference.
Hmm.
Over a distance of 3 miles or 4 miles or 5 miles, you have a complete contrast between New Delhi and Old Delhi. And Old
Hmm.
Delhi by itself is what I call, is an example of preparing people for an India trip, which is India and its cities and its highlights is an open air museum. It is the sounds, the smell. It's an overload on your sensory
And
kind of thing.
yes,
So
it
I'm
is.
saying I think they must enjoy all this. So I would surely push for a minimum of 3 nights. I know they cannot afford to spend more days there, but 3 nights. There are such wonderful hotels also to experience. I mean, there are so many you can just name. Of the this or what I mean, the
Hmm.
the historical Imperial Hotel and the Oberoi for its class. There is the Taj Mahal, Mansingh. If there's a slight budget constraint, there is also the Claridge's Hotel, bang in the middle of a very very leafy kind of kind of area called Lutyens Delhi. So there's
Hmm.
so much to do, and just a walk through Khan Market in the winter months of November, December, Jan, Feb is great. So I think 3 nights for sure. I would think just if it's 2 nights, you are not doing justice to Delhi.
Yes, I agree because there really, really is a lot to explore. To the point of all of the sites that you've already mentioned, the history and culture is extremely rich, and there's no lack of historical and cultural sites to visit with a guide. Um, how might we mix it up a little bit if we have clients who we know love food and culinary activities or love to be a little bit more active, or if we have clients who love art or workshops or doing more types of hands-on things. Are there any types of experiences that are available in New Delhi for clients with these particular interests that are in addition to the history and culture?
Yes, for example, we work and design trips also for art museums in the US. And their focus is by and large on Indian art, on meeting with some of India's well-known sculptors, artists, seeing their collections, meeting with India's some of India's best-known art collectors, having access to their homes. We generally combine, or we recommend, highly recommend to many of these art museums, begin the trip in Delhi and combine it with the India Art Fair, which generally happens in early February. So come in
Cool.
maybe 1 or 2 days early. Now
Hmm.
that trip will be where you'll be in Delhi for surely 4 nights or 5 nights, because
Right.
that gives you access to art collectors. You meet with many of them, to meet with sculptors and artists who have now attained international fame and reputation and credibility is wonderful, because you meet them at the art fair. You meet so many people, connected with art, the art fraternity, the art community in Delhi, all during those 5 days. So I
Hmm.
think that's a great combo, to have. There is also
Yeah.
another part of Delhi where not only, I mean, where you combine. So you're talking of culinary. Other than the five-star hotels now, I think Delhi has become also, other than being and also being the capital of India, it's also a culinary capital now, because you see the number of restaurants, name the cuisines, the fusions which are happening across the city. I mean, I myself sometimes lose track of the number of new restaurants and bars which have opened. And whenever we are entertaining people, I mean, our friends and clients who are coming in from all parts of the world, I actually sometimes check with my daughter, because they are more in touch with the new happenings across the restaurant
Yeah.
scene. And and then she tells me, Dad, I mean, there has been two new restaurants which have opened this month. You must try this one, which is Indo-Japanese fusion, whatever. So actually, we are now spoiled for choice, if I'm to use that terminology, for Delhi.
This is amazing. And
The Bukhara at the Maurya was famous, and the other this. But today you have just standalone restaurants, Whitney, who have made a mark for themselves.
your daughter is right. I just did a quick search to see the top restaurants, like the those that are on like the San Pellegrino list of the top 50 in the world. Like I just did a quick search and there's quite a few in New Delhi. So your daughter's right. There's a lot going on in the culinary scene, which is awesome.
Yeah, yes, and they're all full up. For example, if you don't make a reservation, don't even try to get there to try and get in. For example, there's a restaurant called The Olive, which has been there now for almost 15 or 20 years. It's next to the Qutub Minar. On a Sunday afternoon, especially in the winter months, or even in the evening, and even now in the summer month of May, if you just land up there at 8 or 8:30 and think there's a table waiting for you, most likely you might not get one till the next sitting at 10:30, 11. That too, because you know them and they know you, and things like that. They might just somehow manage to get you a table. So that's the Delhi restaurant scene now, which is really hotting up. And those who are also kind of, other than Delhi, you also have Gurgaon now, and it's not too far to get to Gurgaon. And there's a huge, wonderful restaurant scene happening there too. So I live in that suburb of Gurgaon, which of course has, the glass facade buildings, the commercial buildings, and some 200 of India's Fortune 500 companies there. So the restaurant scene has really become, very interesting. And if one has the time, of course, you could add a day or two just to enjoy Delhi's, culinary scene right now.
I do often say that one of my like one of the reasons that I like to stay in one spot for longer is so that I can try more restaurants because I need to wait to get hungry again to go out for dinner again. Um, from the culinary side of things, are there opportunities to take a cooking class or to do more of like a walking food tour? I like the fine dining and the restaurants, and these are all amazing. Are there also other culinary opportunities in New Delhi, or would we find those in other areas of India?
It's interesting. You asked that question, and there are now, for example, at-home experiences which are happening. There are couples which are curating, wonderful dining experiences in their homes. So, for example, I know we are using a couple in an area called Vasant Vihar, and you just, I mean, they take a maximum of, I think, 10 to 12 guests for the evening. But they'll curate anything, even if you have 2 or 4 or 6 guests, they will curate an evening. They will give you various choices of the cuisines they could curate for your clients in the comfort of their home. And we have used them, I mean, over the last 1 year, I think, or 1.5 years, and the reviews have been absolutely fabulous. And they do a great, wine pairing kind of experience with the food they are serving. And our clients have loved it. So we have had a group of 8 to 10, and we have also had just a couple going there, honeymoon couple going there, and their experience has been equally good. And there are many like that now which are happening.
Awesome. For we talked about shopping and local artisans not really being a lot of opportunity in Khajuraho, but I imagine in New Delhi there's far more options in this regard, in like a
Absolutely.
shopping workshop, artisanal type
Yeah,
of realm.
absolutely right. So almost any handicraft which is available in India is all available in Delhi. There, of course, I mean, we find sometimes, especially tourists and our guests, I think they've heard so much of Jaipur being the mecca of shopping that sometimes when they come
Mhm.
into Delhi, they are saying, we'll wait for Jaipur. And of course, most of
Sure.
them we see include 3 nights in Jaipur. They might do 2 nights in Delhi on arrival, but they want 3 nights in Jaipur because they think that's the shopping mecca. But Delhi itself has, I mean, and various areas, and also small stores, whether it is artisans from Kashmir or just the shawl producers. Of course, jewelry is obviously always there, but or just clothes. People today you have designers,
Mhm.
whom you can meet again in their studios who are ready to work on Indian outfits, because some of them come for Indian weddings also. So they do this combination, and many of the Indian designers now, or a few of them which we know, are able to get on to before they come, a couple of weeks before they arrive, and they're coming also specifically for a wedding. They're able to do and take down their measurements and everything before they come, and then they are able, of course, I mean, the guests who then arrive then are able to go to these studios, meet up with the designers who have curated their outfits, and then they order more from there. And because
Amazing.
I mean, they love their stuff. So I think Indian
Yeah.
designers, and Delhi is perhaps now emerging as one of those capitals of just Indian designers in clothing, and a lot of it for wedding wear. To
Mhm.
now make a mark, especially among the non-resident Indian communities in who are located in various parts of the globe. So I think Delhi has emerged as one of those capitals now.
That's really incredible. And another reason to stay 3 or 4 nights, I think, so that you have
Well,
time
exactly.
to go see your tailor.
That's
Um,
right.
I've got a quick question for you. How good is your memory? Good enough to remember all the insights from this episode? It doesn't have to be. Every insight you hear on the Hive Mind podcast is captured and organized inside the Hive. So whether you're just starting out, scaling your business, or leading a team, the Hive makes sure the knowledge you need is right there when you need it. Sign up for the Hive today at thehive.travel and get instant access to this and all episode insights.
so a lot of clients, I imagine, are visiting India for the very first time. And as you mentioned, most clients who are traveling from the United States are generally coming for like a 12 to 15 day kind of trip. So it is, compared to other destinations, it's bigger and it's longer. Um, From an advisor perspective, we generally kind of have a preliminary conversation with clients before we come to someone like you, like a DMC, to start the trip planning process. What are a few questions that would be helpful to you and your team if we talk with a client prior, like in those early conversations, whether it's about their interests, the pacing, their like which kind of topics they want to dive into, like what types of questions can we ask and to better understand the client to then bring to you a very robust, detailed brief that will enable you and your team to craft the most personalized and customized itinerary for those clients.
So, yes, critical this is, of course, to know the duration of the trip, the number of days they have to spare. Number two, their interests. Uh, Number three, a budget. Which gets us thinking as to what all we could include as part of their experiences, and in a sense that a combination of would they want to experience a train ride, would they want a road journey, would they, how many, or should it just be flights. I mean, we have many clients who also come here and ask for, say, a charter plane, to take them
Hmm.
here, there, and everywhere. So we get
Hmm.
various combinations and various requests. And sometimes, even among the high end, they surely want a train experience for one reason or
Sure.
another, and sometimes it is just, even if it just means Delhi to Agra, it's a train experience. They're just
Sure.
intrigued by the rail station which we take them to. They just see the crowds out there, and on the other side. But I think that's part of the wedding experience. The other interest, again, as I said, is our safari experiences. So because today, many of our national parks, especially the ones in North India, whether it's Ranthambore, Panna, we spoke about, the other parks, I mean, the other parks in central India, Kana, Bandhavgarh, Pench, Satpura, they all have top of the line lodges now.
Hmm.
So it's almost like giving them experiences of, I mean, for accommodation, almost as good as what they see in Africa or experience in Africa. So, I mean, that's one thing. The other one is that desert experiences. I mean, the world still maybe is not aware that we have still the third largest desert in the world. The Thar Desert is the largest of the. Would you like to spend a night in the middle of the desert, which we can curate for you with just, three tents or four tents, specially set up only for you, with all the backup of staff and others, which is honestly a surreal experience. Whether you do it in the back of Beyond, somewhere near Jaisalmer, there are also now lodges just for leopard sightings in a place called Javai, about 2 hours from Udaipur. There, the focus is on the leopard. Now, something like the Sujan luxury leopard camp. I mean, again, you could be in Botswana, you could be in South Africa,
Hmm.
because the level of that camp is, I mean, it's again seeing is believing and experiencing, the safaris there, because the leopards get as sometimes as close to the jeep as you can imagine, but because
Wow.
to them, and they do not come, it's almost like, open countryside, and the landscape is such that there aren't really rules which have been framed so far for safari, I mean, for safari, which I think should happen now, because the number of lodges which have come up in the area have increased, which is increasing the number of safari jeeps out there. But those are different experiences which you can have, and if you have clients who are wanting an experience like, say, some kind of religious spiritualism, wellness.
Hmm.
I mean, India is
Hmm.
again becoming a wellness center. A lot of our new requests which
Uh-huh.
we are seeing over the last couple of, maybe last 2 years now, especially for clients from Brazil, from even from Mexico, is about wellness, and they are asking for, other than doing the usual Delhi, Agra, Jaipur kind of trips. They're asking now for
Uh-huh.
6 to 8 days as just wellness retreats. So it can be
Interesting.
Kerala, or it can be Anand in the Himalayas, or Vana, the six senses there.
Hmm.
So we're getting those requests too. Again, I think so. These are various combos now. People are looking at it. It's not just the old run of the mill Delhi, Agra, Jaipur, and the
Hmm.
good thing is that today you have the infra and the connectivity to get there. Our highways are now, something like going from Delhi, say, to the wellness center called Anand in the Himalayas. You have three choices. You could fly, which is a 1 hour flight to a place called Dehradun, and drive 45 minutes from there. You can drive now on an expressway, which is an 8-lane expressway. You can get there in less than 4 hours, which
Wow.
used to take 7 8 hours before. So India's
Right.
infra, especially the highway systems, have
Hmm.
have 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 kind of escalated to another level. Yes, we'll still take some time to match what America has and things like that on the highways in Europe, but we are getting there. So I think there is a wonderful combo of the road systems. The
Hmm.
airline system is connecting you now to small towns which never really had
Right.
air connections in the past. So to now
Hmm.
include destinations is becoming easier for us because we can get you in and out of there by air also.
Right.
So there are wonderful combos where, and which are our tools today, to design trips.
Hmm. I think just in summarizing all of these really great points you've made, it feels like some of the key questions to consider with clients is their preference for transportation, flying versus driving versus trains. If they're interested in wildlife, and if yes, how interested, right? Like one stop or like a multi-stop option that would include wildlife. Their interest in shopping, um, because it seems possible in Delhi and Jaipur and maybe elsewhere. So allowing some time for that, and then their interest in wellness, because sure you can get a spa treatment somewhere along the way, but to your point there are a lot of very like wellness dedicated experiences available. So if travelers are interested in that, that we can like really curate that itinerary to work that in. Did I get all those points? I think so.
Yeah, the other one is sometimes we get, I mean, requests again from clients where they want an accompanying escort or dash guide, to be with you from start to finish. Now,
Hmm.
I mean, we give them two choices. One is, yeah, you can be, I mean, the experience is different. You have one person who's with you throughout, who guides you through airports and things like that.
Yes.
Otherwise, you also have today the panel of guides whom you get along the way are
Hmm.
also excellent. And sometimes I feel it is better to experience different guides in different locations, and
Hmm.
and and their knowledge and experience and expertise is also very, very good. But there are, I mean, you get a combination of people who
Yeah.
have that additional budget, who just want one escort to be with them from start to finish. So that's also part of the questions which we ask. Yes, for groups we surely recommend somebody travels with them from
Sure.
start to finish, because to navigate our airports inside and out, they are all very useful, useful tools to have
Hmm. Hmm.
to enhance somebody's travel experience.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned that because in this is one detail that's very different in India compared to maybe a typical trip that we would plan in Europe. And there are other countries similar to India where that escort from start to finish is available and it is an option. And it's really just talking through with the clients alongside the transportation. Do you like this idea or do you prefer local guides? But of course, it's also a cost factor as well. So kind of knowing and understanding their preference just in terms of the service, but also their preference in terms of how to allocate the total investment. I think that is an additional point that is very good for us to know upfront and to be able to talk with clients about it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Vivian, we've talked about a million things, which has all been so helpful. Before we wrap up, is there anything about New Delhi or Khajuraho that we haven't mentioned that you want to share?
So again, I mean, I think we have people are not spending enough time to see our museums, and I think the National Museum, or maybe our museums have not, given enough, have not advertised enough to tell everyone that we have some wonderful collections within our systems here, and if I would personally like them to see, at least in Delhi, the two museums, the National Museum and the Museum of Modern Art, which I think will give a different kind of a perspective of India. Especially the National Museum takes you back into centuries,
Hmm.
and the collections, and those collections are all in great shape. All you need is a good guide who takes you through those corridors of both these museums. We also have a tribal museum, which again, if people have some time for them, they could have a look at it. And this so I think the art museums are not being included as much as I would like. But again, it's because of time constraints. Again, we come
Hmm.
back to, can you do 3 nights? In Delhi. I
Hmm.
also think having which we have done for a couple of this. We have the famous Lodi Gardens in Delhi. And the best time sometimes in the winter months is to have a yoga experience out there in the garden. So we get, a very good yoga instructor, and we have a yoga kind of session, for about an hour, and you're in the midst of 13th and 14th century kind of structures
It's really
and tombs
special.
out there, and it's very
Wow.
special. And it's an incredible experience. So to have the yoga experience in the comfort of a gym in your hotel, and to go outdoors and to do it in the middle of 13th century history are two different
Yeah. Wow.
experiences.
Yeah, no,
So
that's amazing. I'm so, man, we barely got that out of you just in the last minute of the podcast, but that's really exciting
you know
to do yoga in
your
such an
mind
interesting
races at
place.
times, and yes, you sometimes tend to miss out on some of what the city has to offer. That's why I said, I mean, there had to be a reason why every invader coming, whether it was Alexander the Great, who came a couple of thousands of years ago, or the first Islamic invasion of this, or everything took place out here. That's why Delhi actually could, there's another word for it called Dilli, Dilli, which means actually the gateway. So
Oh,
it always attracted people from all over the world. So, I mean, other than, of
interesting.
course, the Mughals, of course, establishing it as the capital, and finally the British moving the capital from Calcutta to Delhi, in 1929, and the new city was built. But there was an attraction for Delhi from time immemorial. So,
Wow.
it was Persians, the Greeks, the Afghans, everyone headed here. So there
Wow.
has to be a reason why it has, to
Yeah.
me, and I consider that's why I keep saying that there's something of the city, which for all its other sometimes negatives continues, at least to me, to be my favorite city still. I mean, despite its other, issues and day to
Mhm.
day problems, but.
Vivian, I really appreciate everything that you've shared, and I think that you've done a really great job at just showing how New Delhi is far more than just a gateway city. It is far more than just a place to arrive into India, and that it really does deserve at least, let's say, at least a 3 night stay.
Yes, absolutely right.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I hope to do this again sometime soon.
Love to, Whitney. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Hive Mind podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a new episode. And if you know a friend or colleague who would enjoy this, please share it with them. If you would like insights from this episode landing in your inbox each week, join our newsletter at thehive.travel/podcast. And remember, if you'd like to contribute to a future episode, whether it's sharing your destination expertise or your experience touring hotels, just head to thehive.travel/podcast to learn more and express your interest. We'd love to have you join the conversation. Until next time.